Hi everybody, welcome to Grumpy Old Men for another week. Now, just to get it out of the way, I'm Tim Newton. This is Steve Ross, who is so pretentious he spells his name with an extra E.
They were giving away E's for free. I couldn't say no.
By a vowel, and he did. So Steve's got his own YouTube channel, and there's a link in the description as well as an email so you can get the merch. And the merch is, blow-up sex dolls. What else? You got
on OnlyFans. No, refrigerator
shells?
Magnets, desk decor, that kind of stuff. It's the merchandise is actually a joke. I'm selling souvenirs from a business that only exists in my head.
That's right.
So that's a joke. But come and listen to the show. You might like it. You never know.
Very, very
Could happen.
Bright for me because I'm staring straight at the light. But we're in a fabulous location, and if you hadn't have told me where this is, Steve, I wouldn't have ever found it in 20 years.
Does a good job of hiding, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's fabulous.
It's great.
Would you like to tell us about it?
It's called Nun Khao View Tale.
Can you remember that?
I don't know what nun is. I think it's a verb, to climb, perhaps. Khao is mountain. View is a loan word from English, view. And Tale is the ocean. So, yes, we can see the ocean out there.
Andaman Sea.
The Andaman Sea. And much of Thai Mueang between us and the ocean.
Township of Kok Loi in front.
Yeah, it's right outside Kok Loi, if you know the region. And it's a lovely big thing. It's built on about 8 levels. It's got a big Buddha at the top of it.
And dinosaurs.
And trees made out of concrete and real trees. And
an extensive menu, so there's really good food here as well. Yeah,
we ate. It was real good and not pricey. Entree is about 150 to 200 baht, which...
standard.
Yeah. And the staff are very sweet and very accommodating. And I like it. I've never been here before. I've driven past the sign a million times and thought, well, that sounds fun. So today we finally took a shot. And it's really interesting.
You can see quite a bit of the roof up there, and it needs a bit of a clean. I suspect that they haven't cleaned the roof, which is a fabric roof in, 20 years?
Yeah, and I have said before, I'm encouraged Thai Mueang and perhaps all of rural Thailand. Everything's getting spiffed up. Everything's getting a new coat of paint. People are building new steps in front of their business. People are very optimistic, I think, about this high season. And I'll bet you if we come back at the end of the season, I'll bet they'll have replaced this fabric roof and it won't be so dingy. And the light in here will be much better because you'll have that diffused light coming from above instead of the hard sunlight coming from your right.
So we do have to record the show within an hour, otherwise the sun is going to be in our face.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of which, I just got a phone call just before we started recording. We had a walk-in today, walk-in guest.
Good for you. Good for you.
So
I have those too.
Yes, I know, but they don't come to stay and
they don't
sleep
pay
in
rent.
a bed.
Yeah, they don't pay me rent. Though
he had quite a few guests this week.
We did, and I'm struggling to remember names. I got 2 pounds of coffee from one fella.
So that's 1 pound for me, thank you.
Yeah, and I ran into a guy from Austria named Stefan at the Lotus in the parking lot, and he said, "I know you. I watch you and Tim on." He said, "I've moved to Thai Mueang because I saw you guys on YouTube, and I'm going to be here for a year. And I just moved today. It's my first day in Thai Mueang."
Good God.
Yeah. And just ran into him at the there's only one, Western grocery store in town, so that's where you run into Farang.
Stefan. Hi, Stefan.
Stefan, yeah.
Nice to see you. Oh, the camera's there.
Here's our
your
drink.
Coffee and my soda have arrived.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
she
served with a smile.
Shy to come in front of the camera, so we're going to pass these things. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, golly,
all
extra
right.
soda as well. I'll be burping and you'll be wide awake.
I'll be wired. I'll be flying, man. More caffeine, that's what I need.
This was sent in by Rio765 and asks a question.
Alroy. That's a decent cup of coffee.
Sucking up to the start.
That is a decent cup of coffee.
And I'll tell you about my soda in a moment.
I think they've sweetened it, but I'm going to let it go.
A lot of foreigners come to Thailand to find the perfect wife. Like you.
No, that's not why I came, and I never did find the perfect one.
In my opinion, those days are gone. The old type of Thai girl doesn't exist anymore, says Rio. I don't know. Talk to Steve, and I think it will be a good topic for your program. My program.
It is. It's his
With a
program. He
co-star.
invites me. He invites me to join. That is an interesting topic. There's so much to unpack there. The opening statement, a lot of Phalang come to Thailand to find the perfect wife. I don't think they do. They come to Thailand to find a submissive maid they can screw. I think a lot of men, a lot of Western cis hetero men have this idea
Sorry.
that they're...
Explain cis.
Born that way? Have I got
Okay,
that right?
This is all part of this
Yeah,
new
I am-
lexicon I don't
it
fully understand.
It means that I'm fine with the gender I was born in. And I haven't transitioned to hetero male. I was born hetero male, and I'm satisfied with
I'm
that.
glad you haven't transitioned.
I think that's what cis means. If Steve got it wrong, please tell us in the comments. But my point is this idea that men come here to find the perfect wife. No. I think they come here, if they were looking for a wife, they could have found one back at home. They're not looking for a wife. They're looking for some kind of fantasy of a submissive woman who'll keep house, who'll do all the work so they don't have to learn how to speak Thai, yada, yada,
K-pop
yada, yada,
video.
yada. Yeah, it's a fantasy. They end up meeting a woman who convinces them. I think a lot of guys come here to screw their brains out and don't even think about marriage, but they meet a woman and she's thinking about marriage.
For the children watching, we're talking about builders screwing things together.
Yeah. Can we build it? Yes, we can.
And they do. So they
But-
come here and they get convinced.
Right. Yeah, I think that is the pattern. They don't come here looking for the perfect wife. They come here looking for sex, commitment-free sex. They end up getting snagged by a woman because men were easily manipulated. Because we like it. We're all looking for a mommy.
Were you manipulated?
Oh, God, yes. I've been manipulated by every woman I ever met. And I said thank you when it was over. But at any rate, that's how it happens. But the second clause of that question, does the old-fashioned type of bar girl, and that's who he's talking about. He keeps saying Thai women. What he means is bar girls. There is a difference, guys. And yes, I think there has been a sea change in the type of person working in the commercial sex industry now compared to what I encountered in 1988.
They're more aggressive. They're more determined to go through that process and more practiced and skilled.
Yes,
at snagging a man.
They're simply better educated as well. You don't meet the girls who had to drop out of school in the 5th grade because their family couldn't afford the uniforms. All of these girls in the bars now have at least a high school education, but they're not. What do I want to say? I think he's correct that there's been a big change in the kind of woman. I think that it used to be if you were poor but pretty, this was the job you went into because you could make buku money in a bar if you were poor but pretty. Now, poor but pretty can open a car show. Poor but pretty can be a receptionist in a dentist's office.
Poor and pretty can run a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even if she's a woman drawn to... I'm poor, he's pretty. Even if there's a woman...
I'm pretty poor.
If there's a woman drawn to the commercial sex industry for whatever reason, chances are she'll go online. She will do her trade online.
Very smart.
She won't hang out in a bar night after night after night hoping...
Why would you want to?
Yeah, hoping some rich guy is going to come walking in the bar with the boom, boom, boom of that terrible music and the smoke and the drinking those watered-down drinks.
Did you ever go through all that? You're going to the bars and the boom, boom, boom and the drinks?
As a consumer, that was my job when I wrote for The Nation. I had to go,
Okay.
I was the Bernard Trink of The Nation. I had to go... even though most of the time I wrote about myself, my wife, our children, my dog, my job, I still had to go every week. It was part of the deal. I had to go to Soy Bangla every week and walk up and down Soy Bangla and talk to the pimps and talk to the girls and talk to the little 5-year-old flower vendors and everybody. And did that once a week for 5 years. And before that, I was a consumer. In '88, I came as a consumer in the commercial sex industry. So yeah, I have some experience of that scene, and I'm very, very glad I don't have to go there anymore. I have gone a few times since coming back 18 months ago, and oh my God, I can't. It's just terrible now. It's
Okay, in what ways is it terrible? How has it changed?
Well, as you say, everybody in the bar scene now is much more aggressive. They're much more in your face. There's no longer the shy little country girl sitting in the corner who's only had a couple customers. Yeah, I mean, that used to be a real thing. There was always some trainee in the bar, some young woman who was just tending bar while she learned the ropes of the trade. Now, no, everybody there has got their hand in your pocket. They're tattooed up the wazoo. My God, there's so much ink on these women now. And the long plastic nails and everything. It's very artificial. It's very contrived. It's very it's very expensive now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that has changed, and I don't think for the better. And of course, there are people watching this saying, Steve, the whole thing is immoral. The whole thing is illegal. The whole thing reflects badly on you. To admit on YouTube you've been a consumer in this industry does not help your image at all. But
image?
Yeah, my image. But, you asked the question, and I'm going to answer it. I think if you're somebody who accepts that world as legit, you accept that world as a part of the larger world, as I do, then as a participant, I think the experience is much less now than it was. It was quaint, it was charming, it was sweet in 1988. Now it is none of those things.
So please tell us in the comments section what is your answer to that question from Mr. Rio and Steve's response. From what I've seen of it, sort of from the outside, it has sort of become more more aggressive, and more. They're much more savvy, and
yeah,
I think they sort of know that It just seems to be more of an understanding what's going on from both sides.
It used to be that all the girls were playing the long game. They wanted that marriage. They wanted you to go. They wanted to drag you up country to Yasoton. They wanted you to buy 3 or 4 rye of land. They wanted you to build a house for their family. They wanted to buy ducks. They wanted to buy rambutan. They wanted to have that country squire life, which, men got bored with very quickly. And once everything was purchased, you bought them a pickup truck, you bought a motorcycle for her brother, and you had purchased all this stuff for them. Then they were done with you.
Actually her husband.
Yeah, actually her husband. And eventually they realized they had sucked all the juice out of your snow cone, and they were done with you. And then they would no longer pretend to be nice to you. They would, the uncle sitting under the tree drinking lao khao would no longer say, you, come, and feed you. Now they shut up and glare at you if you come and sit with them. And a lot of guys got driven off the farm, driven off the land that they paid for and that kind of stuff. That was the game, the long game. Now, I think, in my experience, just over the last 18 months, yes, it's very much, we have a VIP room upstairs. You pay for 60 minutes. I'm going to try to get you in and out of there in 20 minutes. And I'm going to go back on the bar and go back on the hunt and see you later, alligator. And that's, as far as I can tell, it's all about that now.
All right. So interesting. And thank you very much for that request for comment. We do have a few other topics to talk about today.
Good.
I
came completely unprepared.
You always do. So I was going to also mention, as I mentioned on the Friday TNT program, that we say farewell to another publication in Thailand. From being launched back in 1993, Thai Mueang, which has been published every week from then, has closed shop and going online only. And I've been at 2 different publications that have been going through this phase, and it's a big decision to know whether to turn off the tap. Well, people, when they've got the papers, they think, oh my God, I turn this tap off and I'm going to have to rely on you're going to have to rely on the online sort of advertising, and you're going to have to cut staff. I mean, you can't keep the same staff because you're not going to need delivery staff.
And we see the result of that, cutting editorial staff in your daily broadcast. The number of not just typographical errors, but out and out incorrect information and mistakes that are being made because there's no editors. Somebody for whom English is a second language tries to tell a story, and either they let AI do the writing, or they cut and paste from some other source, or they try themselves to tell the story, and they can't. The sentences don't scan, it doesn't make sense. They misattribute quotes, the quality of the reportage now has gone, lower than the commercial sex industry, I'm telling you.
The only blessing of AI is that the spelling is so much better.
Yeah. Thank God for small favors.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, because we get comments every day. I get, 300, 400, 500 comments every day from viewers, and I really appreciate them. Yeah, okay, I'm proud of it. Not all complimentary, by the way, but there is a lot of spelling mistakes in the commentary, and the most common one is there, and there. And I was wondering if you must have at some stage gone to one of the junior staff. Oh, for heaven's sake, can't you learn which there to use in that particular context? Do you have a simple way of describing to people which there? T-H-E-I-R, T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. I mean, there's there, and there. And people always get them wrong.
Yeah, sure they do.
So, what's the simple? You don't have a simple way, except to
no,
learn.
the simple response is, why the hell didn't you pay attention in the second grade, asshole? But no, first of all, they're typing with their thumbs, right? So even to do an apostrophe for there, the one that has the apostrophe, they have to go to a different screen, right? You have to go to a different keyboard.
Well, and
to
predictive
find
text might also...
Or yes, you might trust
the
it
wrong
to
there.
click there. But I think, doing everything like this on a tiny little screen, and you're doing it while you're doing something else. Everybody is texting while they're at work, or they're driving the car, or they're punching buttons in an elevator, whatever they're doing. So everybody's distracted. It used to, in the beginning of the internet age, because I have been an editor my whole life, it drove me up a wall. I hated that, and I made a lot of enemies online by pointing out people's simple, easy spelling errors.
Well, that is a common one.
And it's a common one, and your. But I have gotten, there's just so much of it. There's so much bad spelling, bad punctuation, bad grammar, bad syntax on the web, and half the people now commenting on English is not their first language. Now, and after 18 months of retirement, I am able to step back. I grind my teeth a little bit when I see something like that, but I am able to step back and just let it go by. I roll off my back. I don't let it bother me anymore. But there was a time when my blood pressure will just seeing something like that.
So look, I'm having a slight purge.
Second grade.
On the comments section. When you are typing a message, could you just be careful about your theirs? Otherwise, maybe I'll start banning people if they spell
won't be
incorrectly.
there.
Yes, that'd be sure. I wouldn't be that nasty. Yeah, here's an interesting story that was published all over the place, and a lot of you might have heard this, but maybe Steve hasn't.
I don't watch the news.
So
just your show.
There's a bit of quoting going on here, and don't jump on the punchline. But imagine you're retired. Okay. Maybe you got a wife.
Easy enough.
You think you see an advertisement for a cruise, and this cruise is going to be a 3-year round-the-world cruise.
Wow.
And it's going to cost you, some people spent around about a couple of $100,000. Let's say $200,000.
Okay.
So 3 years, 200, that's $8,300 a month. I did the maths earlier, which is not bad if you sort of think about it. They're going to feed you, they're going to entertain you, you're going to visit all these exotic locations. You're going to go to Tahiti and...
Would you say 8,000 a week?
8,000 a month.
Oh, a month.
Yeah. So in some places,
in some economies, some people have that kind of money, sure.
So these people, they thought, they sold the tickets very quickly. And a lot of couples, they sold up their home. They sold all their bits and pieces, and they told the kids, we're going to go and live on a boat for 3 years. They're going to come back, and we'll figure things out then. They sold up the house. So they'd signed up for the experience of a lifetime. This is the story from CNN, and people hate me quoting CNN.
Then...
so they're going to go on this cruise ship, and there's beautiful photos like that being shown. And the cruise was originally due to depart Istanbul at the start of November. Then they pushed it back for another week. and said, oh, it's going to leave from Amsterdam. And then they said, we're cancelling. So why did they cancel, Steve? Why did they cancel this cruise around the world?
They didn't actually own a boat?
They didn't have a boat.
Yeah.
You would have thought that
Yeah.
a bit of due diligence. Let's just check out. I'd want to see the boat, personally.
I would too. You're going to be stuck on that thing with strangers for 3 years.
So they used artist impressions. Flashing red already of these beautiful rooms, and apparently they were going to be what the rooms would look like once this company had bought a boat and done a bit of a makeover. But they didn't have a boat.
The one thing you need for a cruise, right?
Yeah.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a cruise. It's a hike now. It's a 3-year hike around the world. So you'll need to provide your own shoes and backpack and walking stick and canteen and hat. But we're all going to hike for 3 years.
So some of the passengers who booked the 111 cabins are still in Istanbul because they made their way ahead of time. Made their way there ahead of time. I will have a bit of a look around Istanbul before I jump on the boat. Oh, it's going to be moved to Amsterdam. Well, that's okay. We can fly there. Others say they've nowhere to return to, having sold or rented out their homes in anticipation of the round-the-world voyage.
Well, do they get their money back?
Well, the cruise operators say, yeah, we'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
But no one's got their money back yet.
Yeah, someday.
But we'll assume that they will get their money back.
They're frantically trying to buy a boat with it.
What did you think?
Oh my God.
Oh,
well,
dear.
it's the Fire Festival all over again, isn't it? There's a sucker born every minute. And the more expensive the product is, I think, the more suckers there are for it.
Steve, we've got to get into this.
I know, right?
You and I, we should have the Steve and Tim's Himalayan adventure. Oh, no, it's too cold.
Yeah.
What's something a bit warmer?
We're buying a Zeppelin, folks. Come with us for 3 years in our Zeppelin. We're never touching down. We'll be in the air for 3 solid years.
Floating above Thai Mueang.
Yeah, sure.
You enjoy the tropical scenery. We'll float down low enough so you can have a swim every day. But you'll be living in luxury, all food supplied.
Oh, yeah.
Bar girl supplied.
Massage.
Yes.
Yeah, spiritual awakening guaranteed. Reiki massage, hot springs. There's a natural hot spring on the balloon. So send your check now to Steve Ross, 123/15 Tanon Chai.
No, we'll have to open a special account, I think. We'll get a special account.
Oh, okay.
Steve and Tim's charity fund.
Yeah.
And we'll get some artist impressions. There'll be a few shots of a Zeppelin floating around we could just tinker with on Photoshop.
Now all proceeds go to the Thai Mueang Home for Lost Boys.
So, look, people, just do your due diligence.
And here we are working for a living. We're killing ourselves working for a living. And some guy had an idea. He put mock-up photos on a website and boom, 110 tickets at what, 200,000 each?
That was the cheap cabins.
Yeah, and you know, you think they'll ever find this guy? He's on a beach earning 20%.
Well,
right?
I've gone to the next story, but the what happened is the CEO resigned 1 week before the announcement was made that they didn't have a boat, and a week after that announcement was made, he said, "Oh, I've got another cruise coming up, so please sign up, and I look forward to dragging you along." And it wasn't like next year; it was like in a month's time.
Yeah.
So, how many people go, "Oh, thank heavens! Oh, we'll sign up for that cruise instead"?
Lucy holds the football for Charlie Brown time and time and time again, and snatches it away at the last minute, and Charlie Brown lands on his ass. And he keeps going back to kick that football. He keeps saying, this time she's really going to let me kick the football. So there's a sucker born every minute, and after they've been screwed once, there's still a sucker, and you can screw them again.
Oh, this girl, she really loves me.
She did, though. She did.
From news.com.au, US influencers viral takedown of Australia. Flies, racism and early bedtimes. Now, I only read this, one, because I thought, well, I wonder what she's going to say about Australia. But it interested me, and there's a bit of a local context. US content creator Lo Swo has unleashed a barrage of complaints about Australia following a 10-day visit to Perth and Sydney, sort of opposite sides of the country. And she is an OnlyFans model.
Oh.
So she's got credentials.
Sure, yeah.
And she said...
Journalism is not dead, you guys. It lives at OnlyFans.
Australians, I don't know how you're surviving with the flies. Help me, God, that was terrible, she said in the clip, which has now had 373,000 views. So she was complaining about the flies and the mosquitoes in Australia. And I was going to say, out of all the things that I think about Thai Mueang and Turtle Beach, is we don't seem to have much of either. I haven't noticed a lot of mosquitoes. You were complaining about mosquitoes last week.
This month. Yeah, just this month.
But you've been here for more than a year, so is there a time of the year we get more mosquitoes?
I think this month is the time of year because I came to the beach at Christmas.
Right.
I lived up behind the Lotus on the mountain, or on the hill, for 6 months.
Right.
During last rainy season. I came down here to the beach at Christmas, and I can remember there being some mosquitoes in the apartment, but I killed them within a couple days, and then there were no more mosquitoes. So I think the week after Christmas, all the mosquitoes are gone. I think there's 1 month where there's just enough water in people's gardens to breed mosquitoes for that 1 month.
It's not as if they're
typically
flying everywhere.
No, we don't have to hang corks off our hats to keep the flies off our faces. No, we don't. So she should come to Thai Mueang. But, I mean, this idea of dissing a place, Paul Thoreau wrote, a dozen books where he just complains, travels around the world and bitches and moans about India, about America, about wherever. So it's a genre, it's a trope, and she got X millions of views, so she got what she wanted. What's she going to do? Say, oh, I really loved Australia, koalas are really cuddly, and she gets 10 views. But she pisses and moans, she complains, and she gets 1 million views.
Okay, so we've got to start doing that too.
Yeah.
We sit here and just moan. This food is terrible.
We should be grumpy. We should try that once.
It is the name of the program.
It is the name of the program.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very happy. I'll tell you what, for 18 months I've been in heaven. I love it here. I love my life here. I cannot believe that I lived long enough to get to come here and spend time on Turtle Beach. And it's hard for me to be grumpy. I know it's false advertising. But I dig it here a lot. So, I love this place.
Touch wood, I haven't been bitten by a mosquito since I've been here. I see very, very few of them. Yeah. Number one gets bitten quite often, but not that much. Flies, I haven't really seen many flies at all. No. So, I've seen Thai Mueang.
I've seen those little red ginkgo. They're the little red centipedes. I got those bastards on my bathroom floor.
Yeah.
But just I think in the rainy season, not in the dry season. And lizards. Oh my God, the amount of gecko dung that I gotta wipe up in my. Oh God. But no, other than that, chickens, Kuntian's chickens come in my backyard every morning and crow and get bugs out of the grass. But no. Not a lot of mosquitoes, not a lot of flies. Yeah. But that's her shizzle, that's her brand. And she gets the views.
Living in Australia, I did get used to what we call the Great Australian Salute, which is that. And coming to Thailand, a lot fewer flies, and coming up to Turtle Beach, can't really say that I've seen any flies at all. No turtles either, for that matter.
I can't identify anything that annoys me about living here. I mean, that annoys me to the point that I would want to do a vlog like that. I did a vlog, 5 things I hate about Turtle Beach. Kind of as a joke because, I can't find Mexican food. That's the level of my annoyance. There's nothing... The teenage boys on their way to class at the college and from class.
7:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, they drive their motorcycles very loudly, very
and
fast,
proudly.
Very fast and very loud. And someday I'm afraid someday one of those guys is going to wipe out in front of my house. I'm going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's nothing that rises to the level of frustration that would make me do a hit vlog like that. No, I love it here, man.
So our next story, and this sort of relates back to, you've already seen it. Yeah. This relates back to your experience 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Is this guy pregnant?
So,
what is with this? What did you guys? Come on.
So this is being published in phuket-go.com, originally from the Daily Mail, which is not known for its high standard of journalism, but they love these stories. British guy in Phuket having a bad time, but I'll go through some of the stories. The headline, Brit grapples with dire conditions at Phuket Washira Hospital, and a desperate fundraising effort, I think that's the key to the story, is underway to send Dean Penson, a 41-year-old British tourist, home. He reportedly finds himself stuck in a challenging situation at Washira Phuket Hospital. His Washira Hospital Phuket, whatever. His situation and the alleged harrowing conditions. So he went through, along with a mate of his, complaining about the blood on the floor and syringes everywhere and the dirty bed, and the staff didn't treat him well. And I was reading this, and he was complaining and saying, oh, look, the doctors think I've got leukemia, and look, I'm sorry about that, and I hope that you get the treatment that you need. But he spent the entire story complaining about a hospital situation that you'd sort of think was in Venezuela, or I don't know, might be good hospitals there, but like a really dire third world country.
Well, yeah.
But I've been to Washira Hospital many times. You've just spent 3 or 4 days in a hospital in Panga, which is not far from Phuket. And I don't really have anything bad to say about the public hospitals in Thailand, except I don't usually like the way they paint the rooms pink or blue. But apart from the colour choice, I've usually found the doctors are fine. Usually the same doctors that work at the private hospitals.
Yep.
And the nurses and everybody seem to be very attentive and helpful.
Yeah.
And whilst, okay, there's a bit of a language barrier for me, usually they'll dish up some sort of English-speaking doctor to help me out. Yeah. So I've never had any problems either as a customer or as a visitor. Certainly nothing like this gentleman paints in the article. I'll put a link to the article in this the description of this video.
Well, if I may, this isn't so much an article as it is a come on. It's asking you to donate to this guy's GoFundMe. Now, there's a lot of things. First of all, he's been partying on Phuket, and a week ago he discovered he's got leukemia to the point that now he's comatose in 1 week. I've never heard of leukemia doing that in 1 week. If he's got leukemia, he knew before he came on holiday to Phuket he had it. And again, yes, I hope you get the treatment you need. If you're watching, your friends are watching. I'm not, but you made it public, right? You're out there asking for money. So they're going to paint the hospital as this dire torture chamber, which I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen in hospitals. I've worked in 4 hospitals. I've worked for 24 hospitals. I worked at the Veterans Hospital in Iowa City, Iowa. I was a clerk. I wiped up blood and feces and urine off the floor in the Veterans Hospital because there weren't enough nurses and there weren't enough housekeeping people to keep up with it. So as a clerk, I went out there because it's a Veterans Hospital and you want to say thank you for your service. And that means you don't want to leave the guy sitting in his own feces. So I've cleaned up, patients in a hospital as a clerk. And it happens. Hospitals are all about, the things that squirt out of our bodies when we're dying. And so that, if there was some blood on the floor or whatever there was, it's a hospital, dude. And it's a government hospital in Thailand. So I think that, I think probably it's exaggerated for the purposes of getting people to donate to this guy's GoFundMe.
Sure. I think minimum it's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And things like, it's pretty horrendous. The conditions are so bad. There's blood everywhere. There's needles everywhere. It feels like the third world. I'm wondering if I was the board of Washira Hospital Phuket, I'd be thinking, let's give the lawyer a ring.
Yeah, I think under the libel laws in Thailand,
Yeah.
this publication is really opening itself up for getting sued. If they've got anybody physically in this country, they've just really stepped over a line there.
Yeah, in fact, the article at the bottom says Phuket-Go doubts many of the claims made in the article and theorizes exaggeration to help secure the funds.
Yeah, so Phuket Go is covering their ass.
Sure.
They've rerun the story, but with a caveat, we don't believe it.
Yeah.
But it's so great. And there's a picture of this guy. It doesn't show his face, but he's very, very much. Oh, sorry. He's very, very much out of shape.
To say the least.
He looks pregnant. And
yes.
Again, I hope the guy gets the treatment he needs. I'm not throwing rocks at a guy when he's on his back.
He doesn't look 41, does he?
He doesn't look 41. He also doesn't look like he has cancer. I've worked the cancer ward. He doesn't. He looks like a big, pink, fat guy who fell off a motorcycle or something. It doesn't look. And he's got no IVs in him. He's got no lines running.
Yeah, he's got an IV here.
Does he?
Yeah, I think
Okay. Anyway, dude, I'm not throwing rocks at this guy, but I don't find a lot to have faith in this article.
And the comments from in the program, because I covered it on TNT on Friday, a lot of the commenters were saying, yeah, look, I think this is a bit dodgy. And they were sharing their experiences in Thai hospitals and saying, we've never had anything like that.
No,
and I'm sure
never.
If you went through all the experiences of foreigners at Thai hospitals, there are going to be some horror stories, for sure.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time, people, they go in there, they get their treatment, and they may complain about the food and they go home. But who doesn't complain about the food at hospitals?
You know, it occurs to me, when my two children were born, 93, 96, in Ranong, the government hospital in Ranong, I wrote a column sitting outside. It was C-section both times, so I was sitting outside the operating theater while my ex was giving birth. And I wrote two columns, a column on each of those days. And I just took the piss out of Ranong Hospital. I talked about how the ceiling was missing tiles in our room. There was a light socket hanging out of the wall with the wires all exposed. And my son at 3, when his sister was born, he's going around the room investigating, right? And he's yanking on this light socket
that's helping,
hanging out of the wall. I mean, and I picked out all these things but Mem went to that hospital because Ranong's where she's from. She knew the hospital. She had family working in that hospital. She felt safe there, and they did a fine job. Both of my children were born without complications, and it was about a little less than $200 each time. That's for a C-section, 3 nights in for mother and child, prenatal care, antenatal care, meds. I mean, the whole shooting match for $200.
And your hernia, how much did that cost?
$300. Yeah. So it's very, very cheap, and there are some things that we're not used to, like having to bus your own trays and things like that. But for the most part, I would not call it third world. And that expression, people use that to mean a poor country. That's not what it meant. There was America and the West was the first world. Russia and the communist nations were second world. The non-aligned nations were the third world. Those little countries that hadn't signed up either with America or Russia. So the term using third world to mean poor is bad word choice. But I quibble. There needs to be an apostrophe in there. But at any rate, exaggeration. Yeah, I've beaten this horse to death, haven't I?
Dean.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm
triggered. I'm triggered.
Dean? Is it Dean? Dean. Hope you get better.
Yes, Dean. I hope you your GoFundMe gets money and you go back to the UK and lose some weight.
Or congratulations if it's a boy or a girl. So, okay, I'm out of topics. That's my contribution to the program. That's what I brought to the table.
I brought a duck and a book.
Sure.
We can pick a topic out of the book.
Let's pick a topic out of the book to finish off today's program. The duck hasn't got a mention today.
Yeah, that's the Steve Shut Up duck. All right, you ready? Drum roll, Professor. What do we? This is, by the way, very Bangkok. by Philip Cornwell Smith. Typically, we pull a topic out of Very Thai. I'm going to try Very Bangkok today.
Okay, this is not.
All
Have you murdered this one and cut all the photos out of this one as well?
No.
Oh, did you launch a krathong on Monday?
No. I take garbage out of the water. I don't put garbage in the water. Oh, Sanuk. Okay, let's talk about that.
Got a
Sanuk.
plane flying over the top. They haven't opened the airport here yet.
Yeah, just wait till the airport's
Who get
open.
airports that way? It's a
You
big
can hear
plane.
it right through the clouds. Sanuk. I noticed that Sanuk now is a name of a brand of sandals that hipsters are wearing back in the States. They're called Sanuk, S-A-N-U-K. So somebody, some pair, I suppose, of entrepreneurial millennials were at the full moon party and came up with the idea of selling sandals called Sanuk, and now it's a big company in the West. But Sanuk, I think, is a very...
You can send your free samples of Sanuk sandals to 136.
Peabody Award.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, Sanuk pervades everything. The idea that...
It translates as...
I don't know if we have it in English.
Well, sort of fun.
Satisfaction, fun, carefree, perhaps. It is, however, the fact that it is necessary. It is considered by people here to be absolutely necessary in everything, including funerals. Funerals have to be Sanuk. You to get people to participate here, whatever you're doing has to be Sanuk. And that's great when you can arrange it to be Sanuk.
Oh God, you've closed. I was going to read what he defined as Sanuk.
Oh, sorry.
So let's see if I can.
Yeah,
find
that
it.
seems like the obvious idea, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hang on, we've got to keep talking. I'll find it.
Well, I think people who come here and Westerners who come here and try to make a business, which I think is a risky proposition. Some people are successful at it. Many people are not.
Successful at what?
At doing a business.
Oh, okay.
Making a business. Like
right.
you are successful. Many people are not. And I think not understanding Sanuk can be a real hindrance to whatever you're trying to accomplish here, because you're going to need the help of Thai people. In order to get them to help you, it has to be Sanuk. And you can't say, well, these guys aren't laying the carpet the way I asked them to, and they're sitting around laughing and talking all the time.
That's Sanuk. It's a Songkran.
Oh, Songkran with the water guns. Yeah, Songkran's very Sanuk. Yeah. Because we're so used to them smiling. You hear that? These are waitresses who probably haven't had a tip in 3 weeks. Right? Sanuk.
Now, they're defining it as group fun.
All right. Oh, that's interesting. Does Sanuk exist if you're alone? Can you be Sanuk if you're all alone? I don't know about that. Thais don't be alone. Thais don't do anything.
Oh, no. No. Because I used to work with 35 Thais who were under my table, who were under... I was looking after them anyway. I was the boss. Now. And, at 12 o'clock every day, you could time your watch by it. All the Thais would walk out, all going to have lunch together. Mm-hmm. And they'd say, are you coming? I'd say, oh, no, I'm just going down and have a sandwich by myself.
What? Yeah.
Strange, man.
Thai parents punish their children by making them eat alone. When I tell Thai people, and I've said this before, I tell Thai people I'm an only child of a single parent. I grew up with no siblings. They look at me like I said I was born without legs. They cannot imagine growing up alone. It's just, it's hell. It's their version of hell. So yeah, I guess Sanuk must be in a group.
Even the most serious of activities get turned into festival or fair, as browsing stalls or nibbling treats with friends is especially Sanuk. To draw locals to events and promotions, it's essential to provide amusing, interactive sets and charity hosts.
Chatty hosts.
Chatty hosts.
Uh-huh.
Chatty hosts.
Yeah. There's always somebody,
right here.
A teacher at the school, a Karachagan at the Tesaban, who is the chatty host, who is just another bureaucrat until they have the annual school games or whatever it is, and then usually it's a woman. Almost always it's a woman, because you're looking for chatty. She'll get out there with the microphone and just yuck it up. She becomes Don Rickles all of a sudden. It's Catskills in Thailand. And there's always one person on the staff who is the go-to person when you need that chatty host. You need somebody with the Mr. Microphone to keep things moving along, the MC, the Master of Ceremonies. And you never know who it is until that day comes. And then it's, the quiet woman who sits in the corner. All of a sudden, she's out there in her uniform making everybody laugh. It's terrific. Sanuk is a great part of living in Thailand.
So I'll be seeing a lot of Sanuk next Monday and Tuesday. I'm in Bangkok. I'm going to the motor show, and every single car will have a bevy of pretties.
Pretty! Sure. Yeah.
Usually they're 6'3" and statuesque because they're on high heels this high. And they're slim and got pert little outfits.
And 30 years ago, most of them would have been working in the commercial sex industry. Now, they can be pretties. They need no qualification except be slim, attractive, and have some kind of bust. And be able to walk in high heels. Auto shows, trade shows of every kind, there's always pretties floating around.
They don't have to walk. They're usually just standing there, like draped over the
smile and
the
gesture.
Bonnet.
Sure.
So
like Vanna White was on TV in America for 50 years, smiling and gesturing. Yeah.
She was the one that turned the letters?
Yeah, turned the letters on Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to see lots of pretties, and some of those pretties will be mounted on motorbikes in 9-inch high heels.
Yeah. And skimpy little bikinis.
Are there any particular cars you'd like me to check out for you?
I haven't got a clue about. I'm not a motorhead. Never been. I know nothing about cars, and I got screwed on every single car I ever bought in my life. A lemon every single time. So finally, my mother gave me her old Toyota because I couldn't buy a car I couldn't buy a decent car to save my life. So she just gave me her 15-year-old Toyota, and it was a great car. Toyota Corolla.
There you go.
It ran like a top, man. It was terrific.
Now you rent a 110cc step through.
And people say, Steve, why don't you buy a motorcycle?
Why don't you buy a motorcycle?
3,000 baht a month. I've been here 18 months. I could have bought a real nice motorcycle. But then I would have to buy a vehicle and I'd get screwed. I'd buy a lemon like I always have. And then I'd be responsible for maintenance and upkeep, licensing. I'd have to get a license.
Maintenance,
yada, yada.
Upkeep. 99% of the motorcycles driving out there have never had any maintenance, any upkeep.
Yeah, mine would stop on the side of the road. These guys, the fishermen, because they take their bikes out on the beach, right? They'll drive to, almost to Thap Lamu, Khao Nayak, the mountain that is the face of the giant, which is the end of our beach. That's the end of the 13 kilometers of Turtle Beach. And they go up there to fish, and they'll ride on the flat when the tide is out and there's hard-packed sand. They'll ride on the beach up there on their motorcycles. So you don't want to take a nice vehicle on the sand, right? It's going to eat it up. So they drive these collections, these rolling collections of spare parts, and they'll have like a lard can held on with bungee cords, and that's the gas tank.
Sort of a Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein vehicles.
Yeah.
And then when they get off the beach, they drive those home. No lights, only brakes in front, whatever. They drive those pieces of crap home, and the cops don't stop him. He's a fisherman. Of course he's going to drive a piece of crap. Me, however, I could buy a brand new motorcycle, roll it out of the lot, and 10 feet down the road, that thing will stop on me. I promise you. That is my karma with vehicles. So to answer your question, no, you don't need to look at anything.
I'm also visiting the...
Take pictures of the pretties for me.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Bring one back.
Yeah. Like any pretty would live with me on the beach.
New or used?
Well, good luck finding new.
So,
bodysuit.
I'm also going to be visiting the Monet virtual exhibition at Siam.
Now that,
something or other.
I would love to see that. If that comes to Turtle Beach, I'll go see it.
I don't think it's on the tour list. No.
You don't know. You get walk-ins.
They had the Van Gogh, however you want to say it, virtual exhibition earlier. I missed that one, but the Monet one is on at the moment. It looks very good. And then I'm going to go to, a bit ashamed to say, the new IKEA store in Bangkok. I love IKEA.
Okay.
Well, I do have to fit out a new number 3 place. So
yeah, he's rented a third place.
Yeah, so I'll have to.
This guy. I swear to God,
he's
a mogul. He's a mogul.
I told number 1 the other day. I said, if I even make the vaguest suggestion that there'll be a fourth or a fifth, get a bit of 4x2 timber and hit me over the head as hard as you possibly can.
Do we have to wait?
Yes, you do.
Ah.
But yeah, same to you. If you hear me even murmuring or sort of meandering in my simple little mind about, I've seen this other place.
He will.
Hit me
He
really
will.
hard.
He will. You know he will. He'll end up owning the town of Thai Mueang. The whole town. He'll own everything.
I wonder if the locals think I'm absolutely insane, or whether they actually sort of value a bit of investment.
I think they think you're a gift from God. I think
Insane.
They're hoping you are a harbinger of things to come. They're hoping that more and more Falang will come and rent houses. That's why people are painting and putting new steps and new driveways. Didn't Pisau bring you a box of mangoes?
Yes, thank you very much, Pisau.
Yeah, the local business community, the Chamber of Commerce, the Lions Club, the Rotary, whoever, they're taking notice of you.
We've already got Rob and Stefan moved to Thai Mueang because of
this. Because of this.
But we keep on saying, don't rush to Thai Mueang thinking it's going to be the best place.
Bring a hobby.
There's not much to do.
Nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
Unless you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah. You got to make your own. You got to make your own joy. But there's plenty of room, and everybody there will support you in whatever you're doing. They will help you make your joy. So.
Is that a cat?
Yeah.
Where's the cat?
Every restaurant has cats.
Yes. And with that, we thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Steve's the YouTube channel in the description. Email to buy his memorabilia in the description. Memorabilia? Merchandise. If you want to buy any of Steve, what am I saying now?
You do this every week. We got to write a script for you. Let you read it. Put it in voiceover.
And he's written books, and you can buy them on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Under Steve Ross with an E.
ROSSE. And I want to say to Dean, dude, I hope you get over your cancer, and I hope you get the money to go to a hospital you like better. And I'm not dissing you, dude. I hope for the best for you if you're watching.
No, I think he's got a bit on. He's not going to be watching. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. I enjoy this very much. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys.
And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.